In 1999, Sierra Leone, West Africa, was engulfed in a brutal civil war over control of diamond mines. The conflict, which began in 1991, had claimed thousands of lives and displaced millions. Amidst the chaos, a local fisherman named Solomon, played by Jimin Hansu, woke his son, Dia, urging him to get ready for school. Dia was reluctant because he was too tired to walk the 5 kilometers to school. Solomon reminded Dyer of his dream of becoming a doctor, assuring him that the war would end and Sierra Leone would become a better place for him to achieve his goals. Motivated by his father's words, Dia agrees to go. After ensuring Dia went to school, Solomon headed out to fish. Later that afternoon, as they returned home together, they stumbled upon a group of guerrilla fighters known as the Revolutionary United Front, a RUF, a rebel group involved in the war. Sensing danger, Solomon told Dia to hide and rushed home to protect his family, but he was captured by the rebels. The rebels stormed the village, capturing residents and cutting off their hands to prevent them from voting. If anyone resisted, the rebel leader Poison would silence them with his gun. When Poison saw Solomon, he spared his hands but forced him to work in the diamond mines. Meanwhile, the United Nations convened to discuss the civil war. It became clear that the RUF was using diamonds to fund their weapons and troops, despite international agreements not to import diamonds from conflict zones. Illicit smuggling continued, with diamonds finding their way to the global market. Simmons, the owner of a diamond manufacturing firm, attended the meeting, hoping to help resolve the conflict. In the mines, a man placed a diamond in his mouth. Poison noticed him, ordered him to stop, and demanded the diamond. The man took the diamond from his mouth and handed it to Poison. Without hesitation, Poison shot him. Later, Solomon discovered a pink diamond the size of a quail egg, valued at around 60 million. He hid it between his toes. He requested permission to use the toilet and seized the opportunity to bury the diamond. However, Poison noticed and tried to seize the diamond, but an army raid interrupted them. Solomon was accused of being part of the group and sent to prison along with other captured RUF members. In prison, Poison repeatedly demanded Solomon hand over the diamond, even offering $1,000 to anyone who could retrieve it for him. An inmate named Danny Leonardo DiCaprio's character, a former mercenary from Zimbabwe imprisoned for smuggling diamonds, overheard the offer. After being bailed out by a friend, Danny arranged Solomon's release, intending to find the diamond. Danny had a history of dealing with rebels and smuggling weapons in exchange for diamonds. After a failed smuggling attempt, he owed a debt to Colonel Coetzee, a mercenary leader. He arranges Solomon's release but doesn't meet him immediately. Elsewhere, Solomon was seen searching for his family in a refugee camp. Despite his efforts, he couldn't find them, leaving him panicked and fearful that they might still be out there vulnerable. Meanwhile, the RUF was attacking another village where Solomon's family had ended up. Tragically, Dia was captured and taken to the rebels' camp, where he was brainwashed and forced to fight for them. The next day, Danny met Solomon, who had started working at a hotel in Sierra Leone's capital. Danny quickly persuaded Solomon to reveal the location of the pink diamond, promising to help him find his family in return. Initially hesitant, Solomon agreed after hearing Danny's assurance. Soon after, the RUF launched another attack, forcing them to flee. Though they escaped, they were left devastated as the rebels mercilessly killed many people, laughing amidst the chaos. Danny took Solomon to meet journalist Maddie Bowen, played by Jennifer Connelly, hoping she could assist in locating Solomon's family. Maddie agreed to help, and before long, she uncovered information about their whereabouts. They rushed to the refugee camp where Solomon's family was stranded. Upon reuniting, Solomon wept with joy, overwhelmed by relief and longing. However, his happiness quickly turned to sorrow when he learned that Daya had been captured by the RUF. Leaving him heartbroken and devastated, Maddie told Solomon that he could only meet his family again after the war ends. The next day, to fulfill his promise, Danny told everything he knew about the diamond smuggling to Maddie. Danny asked Solomon to pose as his cameraman so they could join the press convoy heading to Kono, where Solomon had buried the pink diamond. They traveled with other journalists, escorted by the military. Midway, the convoy was ambushed by rebels, but Danny, Solomon, and Maddie managed to escape the attack. Continuing their journey through the forest, they encountered a local tribe known as the Cages who were uninvolved in the Civil War. Initially panicked, Maddie quickly explained using her camera that they were there to report on the Cages' struggle against the rebels. The locals then led them to a shelter housing children who had been brainwashed by the rebels and orphans. The shelter was managed by a man named Benjamin. That afternoon, as they watched the children play, Benjamin shared a story with Danny about how he had rescued the children from the rebels. He spoke of the inherent kindness in people's hearts and how actions shape who they become, emphasizing that with a little love, even the most lost could return to goodness and find God's blessings. Benjamin's words made Danny reflect deeply on his own life. When Maddie approached him, he broke down, sharing the painful memories of his mother being assaulted and shot and his father being beheaded and left hanging in an abandoned warehouse. He confessed his desire to leave Africa, longing for peace and an escape from the constant violence and bloodshed. Danny felt that God had abandoned the place long ago. Maddie embraced him, offering comfort in his moment of vulnerability. Afterward, Danny met with Colonel Cody, who had been waiting for them in Kono. The colonel instructed Danny to gather the necessary equipment to dig up the diamond. As Danny collected the gear, he asked Maddie to create a distraction to divert the mercenaries' attention, allowing him and Solomon to reach the diamond's location unnoticed. With the equipment in hand, Danny bid farewell to Maddie, knowing she would soon leave Africa to return to London as the situation had deteriorated further. After that, Denny and Solomon ran as fast as they could. Upon entering a nearby village, an old man informed them that Ruff had already reached the next village. Solomon wanted to leave immediately to save Daya, but Denny stopped him, determined to keep Solomon safe. Danny promised to bring Dia back to him as long as Solomon agreed to stay behind. Eventually, they arrived near the mines where rebels were guarding the area. Danny decided to call Colonel Coty and inform him of their location. They agreed to wait for the colonel to arrive. That night, driven by his longing for his son, Solomon recklessly entered the mines alone without informing Danny. When he found Dia, he immediately took his hand and tried to leave. However, Dia, who had been brainwashed, saw his father as an enemy and refused to go with him. This caused Solomon to be captured. The next day, Solomon encountered Poison, who demanded he reveal the location of the diamond. Poison threatened to kill Dia and his entire family if Solomon refused. Fed up, Solomon launched a brutal attack on them. Just then, Colonel Cody and his troops arrived, bombarding the area and creating a distraction that allowed Danny to rescue Dia. Shortly after Ruff was eliminated, Colonel Cody then pressured Solomon to reveal the exact location of the pink diamond, threatening to kill Deer if he refused. Reluctantly, Solomon disclosed the location. However, as Solomon began digging, Danny signaled him to execute their pre-arranged plan. Together, they managed to turn the tables on Colonel Cody. Danny told Solomon to search for the pink diamond quickly as the army was on its way to their location. While searching, Danny realized he had been shot. Moments later, Solomon finally found the pink diamond, but to his shock, Daya pointed a gun at Danny. Solomon quickly reassured Daya, reminding him that everyone was worried about him and waiting for his return home. Thankfully, Solomon's words brought Dia back to his senses. With his son safe, Solomon and the others left the area immediately. As they walked, Danny asked Solomon to hand over the diamond. Without hesitation, Solomon gave it to him. Danny had already called a friend to pick him up at the hilltop, but his friend instructed him to reach the location alone. Despite this, Danny insisted that Solomon and Daya keep moving forward. Eventually, Danny, weakened from his injury, collapsed. Realizing the severity of Danny's condition, Solomon carried him on his shoulder. After some time, Danny asked Solomon to put him down, knowing he wouldn't survive the journey to the hilltop. Danny returned the diamond and handed over Maddie's card, urging Solomon to contact her as soon as he arrived in London. He then told Solomon and Dia to leave him and keep walking. As they departed, Danny called Maddie one last time. He promised her that he would ensure Solomon and his family were safe. He expressed gratitude for meeting someone as kind as her. After bidding his final goodbyes, Denny passed away. The next day, Solomon and Dia arrived in London and met Maddie. That same day, Solomon prepared to hand over the pink diamond to Simmons, with Maddie watching from a distance. When Simmons arrived, he offered Solomon 2 million in exchange for the diamond, but Solomon refused to sell it unless Simmons ensured his family's safe return. True to his word, Simmons reunited Solomon with his family the following day. The pink diamond finally came into Simmons' possession. Soon after, Maddie published an article exposing the smuggling operation behind the pink diamond. Her work shed light on the dark truth behind the beauty of the pink diamond lay the deaths of thousands of innocent souls.